Hey Sam, I'm just taking a look at your file here. It looks pretty good. One thing I'm noticing is this isn't really like standing out enough. I do like the effect on the text. And this looks like this was squished, and this is like regular almost. Probably the same font, but one of them got squished. I almost wonder if you shouldn't just try not to squish a font. I would say just stretch it out maybe to make it look more like the other. If I push Shift on my keyboard, I can get both selected, and I can Command G to group it, or Object group, and then it's Command C, Command V, and let's just push Shift to get them both selected. Let's just use the alignment tool. I'm in Window Workspace Essentials Classic. You can also find the alignment tool over here in the Properties panel. I like to use it up here because I'm just used to using it up there. And let's do a third one, and line it up so that it looks white. And we can drag and click and then push Shift and click on that background to only get the 3 layers here selected. And let's Command G to group it if it isn't already grouped together. Sometimes group won't show up in quick actions in the properties panel. You just have to do a Command G to make it work. So now it's grouped together. That's just a workaround. There's probably a better way to do that. But so I like this. There is a text box here that we probably don't need. The Ford logo is low resolution. I can tell already it's just not high enough resolution. File document setup. Let's look at your document setup. Edit artboards. Oh, okay. You're 8.5 by 11. That's kind of a small size for poster, that's fine. Let's see. Document color mode. Oops. So you're in RGB. You need to go into CMYK if you're going to print this. If it's not being printed, then keep it in RGB. But yeah, you might need to go to File, Document, Color Mode, and put it in CMYK. And make sure your images that you're using are CMYK as well. I don't know. There is a links panel here. Okay, so this is a PNG file, so it's definitely RGB. So if this is going to be printed, make sure that you, and you embedded it, which is good. But let's see. I think I can unembed, right? Yeah. And then if I unembed it, I can put it, I guess I'll just put it on my desktop for now. It's a Photoshop document. Or wait, it was a PNG, now it's a PSD. I don't know. Unembed. I guess I'll put that on my desktop too. Photoshop. I'll have to give it a different name. Okay, I'm going to take a look at those in Photoshop. The Ford layer, this Ford. I guess I can rename these. Which one is this? Oh, this is the car. Okay, so I'm going to open these up in Photoshop. Just take a look at them. Why is my Photoshop missing? Just a second. Okay, so let's take a look at all these images. This car, image mode. Okay, that's in CMYK. The Ford logo, image mode. Okay, that's good. Image mode. Image mode. So just make sure they're all in CMYK. The PSD files will preserve transparency. I think you're using PNG files, so just make sure all of your images are in CMYK color mode. You just need to go to image mode, CMYK, and then save them out as PSD file. And this Ford logo, if I look at the image size, it's too small. Like, I can make this, it needs to be 300 for print. If you're doing this for online, then I guess it'll work, but for print, it's going to be too low resolution. Image mode, image size, let's take a look at the image size on this. This one's kind of small too. It's only 3 by 2 at 300. This is also a low resolution. This one's a little better, but it's still 5 by 3 so this is all low resolution. I don't know if this is for their website. If it is, then that's fine. One thing about the car that I would change is, maybe do one of these adjustment layers and do levels. And that way, if you do an adjustment layer, you're working in a non-destructive way. And I would lighten it up a little bit because it looked really dark on the spread. So if I save that, I don't know if it'll automatically, okay, it will update. So that lightened it up in our Illustrator document. I almost want to see what this would look like with a different logo. So I mean, if we find a different logo online, which I already did, so let's see, we've got a couple text boxes in here too that you don't need. You can just delete those, but let's do a file place, and we'll bring in the document that I found online. It's in my downloads. It's a PNG file. I'm just going to click it in. It's pretty big, as you can see. If I just do an image trace over here in the quick actions in the properties panel, I'm in Window Workspace Essentials Classic. But let's just do a black and white logo. And it does bring in, we need to push expand to finish our trace. But now this is a high resolution image. And sometimes it helps to just kind of use the black arrow tool, ungroup things in the properties panel, and just see how it's constructed. So it looks like there's a white shape underneath the black shape. So if I command click on this, should be able to command click through the objects on the artboard, and I got to the white shape. You can tell because the fill color. So I just command clicked on it until I got to the white shape, and I looked to see if the fill color was white. I can delete that. Okay, so the F is punched out of that, and that's punched out too. So we can just delete that. And then we can change all this black to white, because that's what you have on your board here. And it's all ungrouped, so it didn't go very well when I went to, but if we just click and drag over this whole thing, and then, Command G or group in the properties panel, either one. Let's just push Shift on our keyboard and size this down. And let's just replace this other file here with the new file. And it's not going to show up as a link in the links panel because it's an image trace, and so it's no longer a file that you'd think it would be. I just arranged this, bring to front. And I would say this is slightly off center. I would just kind of move it. I guess you're trying to go with the road. So part of me still wants to center it, but I don't know. It's just me, I guess. And I want to see all of this. I like how you kind of put some of this behind, but I want to see all of this brought up here, and then the road continued. So, I mean, one thing we could do is just move it all up. Maybe move this up a little bit. I don't want to cover up the nice mountains in the background either, though. So I don't know. It's kind of tough to get the placement right on that. I almost don't want to overlap that at all. And let's see, let's move all this up again. So we're missing quite a bit of the road here, but I think we can use the Content Aware Fill in Photoshop on this to fix that. So let me go into the Layers panel and click a new layer, and let's just get everything that isn't the background image turned off. And we can do that by putting it in its own layer. So I have everything selected besides the background image, and I made a new layer, and I want to put all those things that I have selected into the new layer. So I'm in layer 1 now, but if you grab this little thing and move it to layer 2, it becomes layer 2. And I can turn the eyeball off. Oops, I grabbed the background, which I did not mean to do. Let's get these two things. Let's get them back into layer 1. And so if I turn the eyeball off on layer 2, I can just see, I can just see what we have here. So let's do a file, export as. I'm just going to put this on my desktop. I'm just going to say background. these artboards. It could be a JPEG file export. Let's export it at high resolution in CMYK as a JPEG to our desktop. And then we're going to go into Photoshop, File Open, open this up. If I can get it to open. Okay, here we go. Let's unlock the layer. I don't know if it really matters, but let's unlock it. Okay. And let's do this marquee tool. Let's just click here. You might actually have more of this image, but I'll just show you this anyway. Edit, fill, content aware. Okay, let's just try it. See what the computer does. Sweet. Command D. So I didn't do a great job of doing my marquee tool, so I'm just going to start over. Edit, fill, content aware. The computer will think. And Command D. There. Perfect. So I can just save that. Command S. Make it a Photoshop file, that's fine. And go into Illustrator and we can just relink this. So if I click on that, it's not going to be separated out anymore though. You're going to have to re-separate out the sky. No, you won't actually. Let's just do a file place. So let's just go into the Layers panel, turn on the eyeball, and then do File Place, and bring in that new PSD file. Hopefully it's exactly the same size as your document. Yeah, it is. So I can just do that, and I can crop it. Oops, let's not do that. We'll do crop over here. Crop image in the quick actions in the properties panel. And I can just quickly crop this image, this PSD file that we just made. I just want the bottom half of it to show up so I don't have to redo anything else. Yep, okay. And that is basically, I think, looking a little bit better. We lightened that, we added a little more road. We made this white, we unstretched this font here on the top. We redid this logo so it doesn't look quite so pixelated. We just moved the whole composition up a little bit. It still seems almost a little low to me, but I also don't want to cover up those mountains too much. But there's a little bit more space here at the bottom, which is good. And I think it's just looking a little bit more centered on the page. So hopefully this video is helpful to you. And I think these changes would make the design look good. If you're having issues with low resolution images and you need them to be higher resolution, you might have to look for better images. But anyway, we'll talk to you later.